What if you could play over 20,000 retro games on one handheld right out of the box? No downloads, no setup, and no cartridges. Just power it on and instantly start gaming. Well, today we're checking out the upgraded XF40H plug-and-play handheld, a compact little console packed with arcade classics, console favorites, and so much more, all built in and preloaded, ready to go. The real question here, does it actually deliver when it comes to performance and gameplay? Let's find out. Right out of the box, completely plug and play, ready to go. There's no complicated installation process, no loading games onto an SD card, no firmware flashing. You simply turn it on and you're instantly inside a massive 128 gigabyte game library. Buttons have a nice tactile click to them. They're responsive, they rebound well, and they don't feel mushy in any way. The D-pad is tight and accurate. Also got shoulder buttons up top, giving you access to more advanced controls for systems that require them. And one feature that gives this handheld a little bit more modern gaming feel is the RGB lighting around the analog sticks. It adds a subtle glow that makes the device stand out visually, especially in low light situations. Now, this isn't just a simple handheld, it's really an all-in-one multifunctional device. You've got hi-fi stereo speakers built right in, which sounds surprisingly full for something this size. There's also a 3.5mm headphone jack if you prefer a more private listening experience. It also supports Wi-Fi online multiplayer, which is a huge plus if you want to connect and play with others. It's also powered by a 4,000 mAh battery, which will deliver up to 10 hours of playtime depending on which games we're playing. It also supports TF card expansion, so if you ever want to expand upon the storage capabilities here, you have that option and availability. Now let's dive into what people care about most, the game library. We'll tour through everything that this offers, collection by collection, and then we'll dive into some games to test out its performance.
All right, guys, so I just killed some of the lights just so we can see this a little bit better without the glare, but you can see we got great RGB lighting around these, and it looks a little bit better in person just because you can kind of see the color sort of shift around there gradually, more so than you can on camera, but really nice. So we've got Game Boy Color over here, we've got Game Boy Advance over here, DS, SG-1000, Mega Drive, Sega 32X, Dreamcast, Game Gear. We've got Neo Geo, we've got Neo Geo Pocket, we've got original PlayStation, we've got PSP. We've got our user manual section over here. We got our all games list, which has 18,550 total games on here. So we're going to be touring through this collection by collection, but I want to just show you guys a little bit of the collections present here. So we have Capcom System 1 through 3, MAME, Atari, PC Engine, Family Computer, Super Famicom, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy, and then back to where we started with Game Boy Color. Now let's go over to our all games list. This is, of course, going to be our master list for the entire system. So 18,550 games, which you can see right over there. A little bit hard to see on camera, but that's a lot of games. Let's dive into this. We're going to hit our A button. I believe that's A. Yeah, A over here. So we've got all of our titles over here on the text list. Now, one thing I want to highlight for you guys is there's no box art on this build. And that seems to be the case, at least from what we're seeing on here. We'll go collection by collection momentarily, but kind of a bummer. I mean, that's because they're combining everything into, or I should say, condensing everything into 64 gigabytes. We saw in the SD card, 64 gigabyte capacity. So they're trying to cram as much as they can on there and not use up space with any of the scraped data, which, you know, makes for a less attractive build, but if we have all the games here, we could always go ahead and flash this onto a larger capacity, like a 128 or 256 gigabyte card, and then scrape it ourselves if we really wanted to. So I'm going to back out of this collection. We have favorites. That's going to be a custom collection that you set up yourself. You add your favorite games in there just for easy access. So we have Amstrad CPC to start this off, 24 games inside here. And oddly enough, this does have scraped data, so we do have all the graphics on here. We didn't seem to have any for the all games list, but Amstrad CPC does, and it looks way more polished. So alphabetical order, we can easily locate what we're looking for, like Gauntlet 2, for example. We've got a screenshot, we've got our cover art, and we've got our logo right there. D-pad feels really nice. It's a raised D-pad, too. I want to make mention of that. Definitely feels very comfortable. So far, I've just been using the analog sticks, but everything very easy to navigate. So there's a couple titles in here that aren't scraped. We had one, there we go, that one right there, E-Motion, 1990 release. Doesn't have anything scraped, but you can see it looks way better when they've scraped all of the graphics on there for us. So then we're not just choosing from a text list, we have some visuals to go with it. So we'll back out of Amstrad CPC. We've got Capcom System 1 over here with 31 total games. This seems to be scraped nicely as well. The only thing I'll say is they have, oh, there's some video previews. Very nice. Let's go to Mega Man. See, this looks really nice. I like the way that this is put together. The only complaint I'll say is over here on the right-hand side, we have abbreviated titles. So it looks like they just took the file names rather than, you know, the actual, you know, typed out title. There's the Punisher. It's in there as Punisher. I mean, we could figure out what it is. But, you know, I'm going to pick out all the little inconsistencies here as we go. So we'll back out. Definitely like that, though. Capcom System 2, 36 games over here. Let's jump into this one. Video previews as well. So it looks like we have our full collections for Capcom System 1 and 2 so far. 3 is going to be a lot less titles, typically. 4 games over here. Oops, hit the wrong button. And it's laid out the exact same way. We get the video preview. Very sharp. I like that. And I like how the box art stays consistent underneath it. Next, we have MAME. So this is going to be your classic arcade collection with 1,702 games if we select this. We've got a Mortal Kombat specific collection at the top. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we have The Simpsons. Then it goes into our regular list of titles. Now, no video previews here. It just gives you the solid screenshot along with the cover art and the logo. But still, very nicely put together. I definitely dig this. And even though it's just 720 by 720 resolution on here, with these older games, it really doesn't make a big difference. So you can still see very vibrant on screen. And keep in mind, it does look better in person than it does, obviously, on camera. We do lose a little bit of resolution in the process there. So very nicely put together for MAME. Now let's see if we go up here to our select button. Oh, there's our select button right there. And we go to M. I want to see if we have Moonwalker here, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. So we'll select M. That just gives us the ability to kind of jump around a little bit quicker than just scrolling down title by title. So it might actually be MI for Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Sometimes it's in this way. So if we go up, maybe it's up here. It doesn't look like they have it. That's too bad. So might be a little bit limited in terms of titles. Just going to double check that it's not in here. Moon Alien, Moon Patrol, Moon War. Yeah, that's too bad. All right, let's do another check though. Let's hit select again. Let's go down and see what we have for WWF titles. I always love WrestleFest. That's a game I constantly play for Classic Arcade or MAME. So let's see if that's in here. We'll actually go to X because it would be right above it. So we have WrestleMania, we have WrestleFest, 4-player, and we have WWF Superstars. So that's cool that we have those at least. But still, with over 1,700 games, we should have a pretty robust collection. So we'll back out. We have Atari 2600 over here with 31 games. We have PC Engine over here with 359 games. We have Family Computer with 1,634 games. We have Super Famicom with 3,970 games. That's a lot of Super Famicom games. So we have featured games. We have regular games over here, which is sub-collections. So that's how we end up with so many. And this collection is not scraped. So as you can see, each of these titles does not have any box art or video previews or screenshots, logos, none of that stuff. So looks like maybe they were running out of space on here and they started kind of axing the box art as they went. That would be my prediction. Moving forward, we have NES with 498 games. Same thing here. Nothing is scraped, but we have our Super Mario games right at the top to kick it off, which is interesting that it's not in alphabetical order for this collection. So a little inconsistent. After that, yeah, I was going to say maybe it goes into alphabetical order, but not if G.I. Joe is after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So looks like this one's kind of random. We'll back out of NES. We have Super Nintendo next with 1,331 games. Same deal here. Nothing is scraped. We do have a Super Famicom Japanese collection here. So definitely some serious crossover between Super Nintendo and, of course, Super Famicom over here, which were essentially the same deal. We have 181 games for Nintendo 64. I'm always interested to see how that looks. So this one is scraped very nicely. We even get a description on here, which we haven't seen yet. So it looks like they went all out with this one. No video previews, but still a screenshot. Got a little bit of box art here, logo. Gives us more than just a text list, at least, to choose from. So let's kind of comb through this. This is one of the more demanding collections on this particular handheld. So let's see, do we have any cruising games? We have USA, we have World, that's good. We have Doom 64 on here. We have Duke Nukem 64, Excite Bike 64. Gauntlet Legends, one of my favorites. We've got GoldenEye 007 on here. We've got Hydro Thunder on here. Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, Killer Instinct Gold, Kirby 64. We've got, looks like all the Mario games. Mario Golf, we got Mario Kart 64, Mario Party 1 through 3, Mario Tennis, Mega Man 64. Mortal Kombat's in here. We got some NFL, some NBA, some NHL. I saw Paper Mario's over here, Perfect Dark's over here. So great selection. We got Pokemon titles as well. Now, do we have any wrestling games? That's always what I look for. We have StarCraft 64, which is a great one as well. All right, Tony Hawk's Pro Skating. Looks like just the original. So Wave Race 64, and then we've got Backstage Assault, we've got Nitro, we got Revenge. So we're missing, what are we missing here? WCW NWO World Tour, and we are missing Mayhem. So I would have gotten rid of Backstage Assault. Nobody's ever going to play that one. But still, good selection for WCW games. What do we have for WWF? Just Attitude? Ooh, we Need No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 over Attitude. Attitude sucked. But still, at least we have some wrestling games here. And in my opinion, we have the best one, WCW NWO Revenge, which I will be checking out because that's a tough one to actually emulate. So that'll be a good test later on. Next, we have Game Boy with 3,670 games. That's a ton of games. And yeah, so they've kind of broken it up into sections here. And I would imagine they probably have multiple versions of some of the titles too, because that's way too many original Game Boy games. There were a lot, but there weren't that many. We have Game Boy Color next with 2,121. Way too many Game Boy Color games here as well. There was only like 600 and something. So yeah, they've padded the numbers quite a bit. And you can see right here, we have Air Force Delta in here twice. So there's some duplicates in here for sure. We'll back out though. We have Game Boy Advance next with 1,081 games. That's a good count on there. I'm happy with that count. You can tour through here and just see how it's laid out. So everything is scraped inside this collection as well. We'll back out. We have Nintendo DS, 28 games. And it looks like a good selection. We got some Assassin's Creed, some Call of Duty, some Donkey Kong, some Dragon Ball Z, some Final Fantasy. Got some Grand Theft Auto in here, some Lego titles in here, some Need for Speed, Mario Kart DS, which is a really popular one, of course. Spider-Man, some Star Wars, Super Mario 64 DS. So very good selection of DS games. We have SG 1000 with 68 games. We have 1,218 games for the Mega Drive collection. So that's where you'll obviously find Sega's Sonic. We have Sega 32X over here with 21 games. We've got Dreamcast, just 5 titles for Dreamcast, but I'm interested to see how this one actually pans out for us. We've got Crazy Taxi 2, we've got Dead or Alive 2, we've got Gigawing 2, we got Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as well. So they like the sequels on here. I just went through a plug-and-play game console that was laid out very similar, where they just did the sequels. So still a good selection. I'd love to see more than just 5 games on here, but it's a good start for Dreamcast. You could always add more of the games that you want to play. We'll be checking out some of those titles in the demo section of this video to come. We have Game Gear next with 261 games. You can see how it's laid out within. Very nicely put together. Moving forward, we have Neo Geo with 187 games. And of course, you got to have your Metal Slug games as well as your Art of Fighting. So nothing is scraped in here, it seems. We also have Fatal Fury up here. We have Samurai Shadow. We have the King of Fighters, just in their own folders. And then, of course, all your other single games right below that. Nothing scraped, though. Backing out, we have Neo Geo Pocket with 46 games. We have original PlayStation with 24 games. Kind of a low collection, I would say, in terms of titles. Let's see what we have, though. Vibrational game. Okay, so we have Jet Moto 3, we got Medal of Honor, we have Ridge Racer Type 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and Vigilante 8. And Crash Team Racing right up at the top. So nothing scraped inside here, but it looks like the regular collection is scraped very nicely. Very nice. Okay, so we got some Crash Bandicoot, we got some Castlevania in here, some Capcom versus SNK Pro. We've got Double Dragon. We have Marvel versus Capcom, it looks like. Yep, Marvel versus Street Fighter as well. Some Final Fantasy, some Mortal Kombat, some Need for Speed. We got Tekken 3, which is a must. I'll be diving in here. I'm interested to see if like Tekken 3 has the soundtrack, or if it's just, or if the audio has been kind of extracted from that, because that's a totally different experience in my opinion. All right, backing out. I'd love to see more than 24 games, but I get it. We're on 64 gigabyte capacity cards, so it is somewhat limited. Next, we have PSP with 17 games. Let's tour through here. Got some God of War, Chains of Olympus to start it out. We got Dragon Ball Z. We got FIFA Street 2, Grand Theft Auto. We've got Mega Man. We've got Metal Slug. We got MotoGP. And it looks like these are not scraped for the most part. We've got Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny, which is one of my favorites for this particular collection. So Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max is scraped. Looks like one of the only ones that is, though, Virtual Tennis 3. And we're back to where we started. So it looks like just 2 or 3 titles were scraped. I don't know, about 5 are scraped in here. Majority still aren't. We'll back out. We have user manual here, which is not much in here, huh? User manual. Let's see what that is. Okay, so it just walks through kind of the setup for all of this. So start and select is going to be your hotkey. Hit that to exit games, as well as, of course, you know, that user manual settings sort of section there. So we'll back out. We have our all games next. So we're back to where we started. Let's dive into some titles and see what the performance is like.
Final round. Fight. Battle 2. Fight. Ring out.
All right, guys, we jumped into the XF40H handheld game console today, and let's first talk about the layout and design. I was very happy with the controls. I found the ABXY 4-button configuration to be very responsive. D-pad raised up a little bit, so it was very easy to navigate with that. We have dual analog sticks here, which were great for pinpointing directions on there. Very comfortable. I felt like the action was very tight on there, so you weren't constantly overcorrecting or anything like that. Just very precise and comfortable. We also have the RGB lighting around them, which, if you're playing in a dimly lit room, kind of illuminates everything nicely and just adds a nice aesthetic to it. We also have our shoulder and trigger buttons up at the top, which respond very nicely. They're very good action on there. However, their placement feels a little bit off sometimes. More specifically, the L1 and R1 buttons. I just feel like it's kind of quite an adjustment to actually engage those when you need to. So you kind of have to readjust your grip a little bit for the titles that you're going to be using your shoulder and trigger buttons for. Mario Kart 64, I don't use those buttons all that much, but when I do feel like I have to, kind of readjust my grip on the actual handheld. So, it is something you have to think about and get used to. But once you do, it's pretty good. In terms of the SD card on here, 64 gigabytes certainly isn't a huge amount of space, even for retro titles. And we saw, what they had to cut back on in order to fit everything on here. I was happy to find that the PlayStation games have the audio, so like Tekken 3, you don't have to play that without the, techno music in the background, which is a completely different experience, as I mentioned. But we do see that there is a lot of stuff that's not scraped. A lot of stuff has no images at all, no logos, no screen art, no box art, none of that stuff. Some titles like some collections like the Capcom collections, you have video previews. So it seems like they started to make it really well polished and nicely put together. Maybe they ran out of space and had to dial it back. So, not crazy about the layout, but it's effective in that you can find what you're looking for very easily, and here everything's in alphabetical order for the most part. There's a couple collections that were a little wonky, but again, the majority were very easy to navigate. In terms of performance, it's not the most capable handheld. I'd say it's middle of the road. Dreamcast, unfortunately, wasn't a good experience. All those games were very laggy. The audio was kind of a mess. N64, a little bit hit or miss. Mario Kart 64, great experience. WCW NWO Revenge, though, did not load at all. And I shouted that out as we were touring through everything, because that is a game that does offer a bit of pushback with handhelds of this nature, where, performance is somewhat limited. And you saw that we were able to hear the game start up, but we weren't able to actually experience the game in any way. So definitely a little bit of a letdown there. PSP, and I'm talking about mainly the more demanding titles here today and collections, NES, Super Nintendo, all that stuff is going, classic arcade, Capcom systems, all of that stuff's going to run perfect. You're not going to have any issues whatsoever. So we're talking more about the more demanding titles and collections today. PSP, for the most part, was a good experience. There were times where it seemed to glitch out just ever so slightly or lag just for a split second, and then it would go back to normal. You can overcome this by adjusting your frame rate. When I do my review videos, though, I don't make any adjustments to emulators or games. I go into everything stock just to show where the stock performance lies. You can make it better, though, with your frame rate settings. Beyond that, PlayStation, no issues with original PlayStation. That's become pretty easy to emulate these days, so it was very good experience in there as well. Audio quality on here is very good too, and the resolution, it's 720 by 720, which as a spec on a computer screen, you'd look at that and you'd say, oh, that's really, a little bit lacking. For retro gaming, though, it's really not. It's a crisp visual on here. It's a small screen. At the end of the day, 4 inches for a handheld. It's not super small, I guess, but it's still relatively small, compared to putting something up on like a 70-inch, TV screen. So 720, 4-inch IPS screen, it looks vibrant, it looks crisp. You guys saw that here today in the demos. So don't look at 720 by 720 and think that this is, a step down. It's really not for retro gaming. So all in all, very good experience. I think that the price point here warrants the performance, and it not being, of the higher caliber as some of the other more expensive handhelds out there. I think that the price that we're paying for something like this definitely makes sense. So you can also get this in different colors. I have black and white, but there's also pink, there's blue, and I believe there's gray as well. So to learn a little bit more about this product, click the link in the description of this video or the pinned comment down below. That's going to do it for today, guys. Hit me up in the comments, though. Let me know what you guys thought about what you saw here today with this handheld. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for the support. I'll see you guys on the next one.